welcome to the Veterans Voice, where we highlight programs and services that support our veterans. I'm your host, Tim Stroud. Homeless veterans often have a long and complicated road back to stability. Fortunately, there are resources to guide and assist them in that journey. We're joined today by Carla Bokemper, licensed chemical dependency counselor intern with the Warriors Refuge. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
You are most welcome. I'm excited because I've actually been to the Warriors Refuge and I know the exact room you're at right now with the rally point. But for those who aren't knowledgeable about the Warriors Refuge, let's dive in there. Tell them a little bit more about your program.
Well, we're 5 years old. We're in West Columbia. We started putting together programs to help homeless veterans get back on their feet. We work with mental health, substance use, education and employment counseling. What the Warriors Refuge does is a transitional living facility. We provide beds, food, everything, all they need to get back, starting with getting their health needs taken care of. Then we move on into their mental health or their substance use needs. We have a lot of great programs. It's taken us a few years to develop. We go through what we call a three-phase program, starting with the physical. Then we work on the mental health and the substance abuse issues. And then in the last phase of the program, that's usually when they're working with HUD-VASH and the VA to get their housing. So
Right.
now they're up there in Houston searching for houses.
Oh, that's great. And I love the program because it operates on a premise of crawl, walk, run, and then fly. So you can help out others. In the military, we have the watch one, do one, teach one programs, and this is very similar to that one. But some programs limit their scope. Where is the scope for your program? Can you be a male veteran, woman veteran, a somebody who has an other than honorable discharge?
Well, we serve all veterans. We do have male and female facilities. We don't see as many females, but it's growing. But we also serve veteran families in our mental health and substance use programs. They do not have to be residents. We serve all veterans.
Carla,
If
and when you
they
say all
come in,
veterans,
if they come in with dishonorable discharge, we still have shelter beds that we can help them. And in the counseling side and the substance use side, we can provide that counseling regardless.
what I like
Since
to
they're
say is
veterans.
you serve lottie dottie everybody.
Yes,
And with
very much.
programs that are funded, I'm sure that you operate on similar programs at Stay Tuned for Vets. You look for federal, state, and local funding. What is the best way for somebody to support you, and how do you get your funding?
We'll tell you, we live on donations and community support. Yes, we are part of the GPD program with the VA. So we have that grant that pays for housing for those eligible veterans. We have the Department of Labor has the homeless veterans repatriation grant. I can't say it.
That's a
Um,
mouthful.
but that helps with our education and employment services. And then now we have a Texas Veterans and Family Act grant. And we have the local United Way has a grant that they've given us to help families also. But there are ways to donate time. We have companies come in, Dow, Olin, just veterans, VFWs and American Legions and schools and all kinds of organizations that come in and they help with painting and keeping our facility up. We've had people come in and donate air conditioning systems. New
Those get
roofs.
quite expensive. And speaking of painting, we would love to come down with Stay Tuned for Vets and put on a program of painting, acting, dancing, and get your veterans active and working together. So I'll connect with you on that one. But I also understand you've got a an opening or grand opening coming up.
Oh, the grand opening is our newest program. We're opening an office in Alvin. It's called the Rally Point, and we are funded by the Texas Veterans and Families. And this provides counseling, mental health counseling, substance abuse counseling, peer support, education and employment sources to all Texas veterans and their families. They don't have to be homeless.
Okay.
They can
And
come
you
in. We can provide these services on site. We plan on having classes and different support systems come in. We plan on having Zoom meetings, and if a veteran is working and needs to meet with a counselor at a different time slot, we're going to be so flexible in what we can do. This has really opened the doors for us to help all veterans, not just homeless veterans.
I love your programs. I've worked with you and your team for several years. And for those that don't know, you have a huge program coming up in the fall.
Oh, in the fall. This is our big fundraiser. November 2nd, it'll be at Brazoria County Fairgrounds. It's called Vet Fest. Last year we had 35, 40 vendors. We had to change venues 3 days before the event because of the weather.
Oh,
And we still
understood.
had a great turnout. It's our big auction. Just look for our information. We're sending it out regular now that we've got the save the date. This year, they're letting us have the auditorium for our vendors instead of exhibit room. So we're really excited. Car show, cornhole tournament, music. The room we had last year, the exhibition hall, is going to be our kids' playground this year.
Okay.
So it is very much a family event, and we want to support our veterans. We're asking our community to support us, and we want to celebrate those veterans as they come through the door this year. So
Any
we're really
success?
looking forward to a good year this year.
Okay. And then what's the best way for someone to get in contact with you or your organization, the Warriors Refuge?
Okay, our email is info at the Warriors Refuge .us. Website is the warriorsrefuge.us. And our phone number is 979-345-3800. And you can contact us there in West Columbia or here in Alvin off that same phone number.
Carla, thank you for joining us today from the Warriors Refuge. And after the break, we're going to learn how veterans advocate for other veterans.
At HCC, your dreams are within reach.
When I grow up, I want to work at the hospital. When I grow up, I want to work in a lab to build robots.
When I grow up, I want to work at high school and be a teacher.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Did you know it's kitten season? Right now, thousands of kittens are in shelters across the nation, and they're in need of love and care. If you foster a kitten, you'll be giving them the chance to grow up and find families of their very own. Visit bestfriends.org/kittens.
Welcome back to the Veterans Voice. Many legislators on both sides of the aisle are eager to help veterans and their family members. But how do they understand what the veterans need? We're joined today by Tom Zampieri, and he is the past national president of Blinded Veterans Association, BVA, for some insights into the advocacy process. Tom, how are you doing, sir?
Hello there, Tim. It's great to be on the show with you.
It's great to talk with you again. We get to connect a lot through the community, but you are in DC sometimes and doing some other stuff. But let's start with the beginning of your military service and how long you served.
Yes, sir. We have a real common bond, you and I. I was an Army medic, same as
Cool.
you, but a little bit different time zone, 1972 to 1975. So I caught the last 3 years, the end of the Vietnam War period.
Okay, and and how long did you serve? You said just a few years. Was it mostly overseas, or did you serve anywhere here in CONUS?
Oh, no, good question. 3 years here in CONUS. I was supposed to go to Vietnam in 1973. And that was when President Nixon went on TV and announced the big withdrawal. So I joke with my fellow veterans that know me that instead of going to Vietnam, I got sent to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and spent a year there. And but yeah, so all 3 years were stateside, and I was assigned to multiple military Army hospitals during that time.
You know what? You're exactly right. And not only is there a special bond with veterans, but then you break it down into the six different service branches, and then you find out that somebody was in the medical branch as well. And if you serve there, there's just an instant credibility. You start talking about things, and I love that you're an advocate for other veterans throughout the United States. But what did you do before you became an advocate?
Yes, when I got off active duty, I used back then the Montgomery GI Bill for Vietnam veterans to go to college. And I went to college and became physician assistant in 1978 and spent roughly the next 25 years as a physician assistant. So I worked in private hospitals, I worked in inner city hospitals as a PA. And then lo and behold, in 1983, I landed a position at a VA hospital in New York. And then after a year, I transferred to Richmond, Virginia. And then I transferred eventually to Houston, Texas, which is partly how I ended up here now. And so I worked essentially about 18 years at three different VA hospitals. And during that same time period, I should mention, I also served the entire time, 21 of those years in the Army Reserves in either hospital units or in the National Guard. And when I was in the National Guard, I was an Army flight surgeon for 15 years. And my last duty assignment was Ellington Field for all those Houstonians. I was with the Apache Attack Battalion, the 1st and 149th.
Okay, these are things that I didn't know about you, Tom. So I'm loving to learn about you. And at some point in your life, your vision started to fade a little bit, and you became concerned. Let's talk a little bit about that and how you got into becoming an advocate.
Yeah, basically what happened was, unfortunately, I had a retinal degeneration. So I got tunnel vision. And of course, you can't function as a clinical, especially I'd been doing surgery for 20 years. So I was faced with what do you do? And I think, in my mid 40s, all of a sudden my whole career plan sort of dissolved. And I went over actually to the regional office and talked to somebody, and they said, well, what interests, this is a great question to ask any veteran. If you couldn't or can't do what you have done in the past, what would you have done differently? And I said, well, I've always been interested in politics and history. And they said, well, why don't you use your educational benefits and go back to college? And so I actually went to the University of St. Thomas and I enrolled in the master's program in political science. And I finished it in 2 years, and I started my PhD through La Crosse University. And while I was working on that, I had previously been very involved with advocacy for physicians' assistants at the national level. So I used to go to Washington, D.C., and coincidentally, I would meet with different veterans organizations. And I was up there for unrelated, issues, and went over to the Blind Veterans Association to meet the executive director. And fast forward, after I talked about policy issues that I had with Congress in regards to physicians' assistants and education and all that stuff, he said, "You're an Army veteran, right?" "Yeah." And you're legally blind now?" And I said, "Yes." "And you're getting your PhD in political science and you have experience in working with the congressional VA committees?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You're hired." And I said, "Okay, what?" He said, "Yeah, we have an opening right now for Director of Government Relations in Washington, D.C. And we would love to have you come and work for us." And so I was stunned. I didn't even have my resume with me. So I said, "Well, sure. That would really interest me." So came back to Houston, got my wife. We went up and found a place to live. And for 9 years, from 2005 to 2013, I'm probably one of your few guests that'll say I worked 5 days a week, met with senior Pentagon officials, met with the secretaries of the VA, all of them, different administrations, went over to the White House. I met with President Bush twice, met with President Obama 3 times. But in addition, I spent 90% of my time over on Capitol Hill, meeting with members of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, representing the Blinded Veterans Association. We're a congressionally chartered organization that's been in existence since March 28th, 1945. So we're one of those World War II veteran disability organizations. We're a nonprofit 501c3. And it was a great honor to represent them.
I've got to stop you there because
Yeah.
I love the BVA, and we're going to have to bring you back for some more information because we only have 8.5 minutes, so we have to go to commercial break. After the break, we're going to talk to a veteran service organization that strings veterans along, but don't worry, that's a good thing.
At HCC, your dreams are within reach.
When I grow up, I want to work at the hospital. When I grow up, I want to work in a lab to build robots.
When I grow up, I want to work at high school and be a teacher.
From classroom to career, we're with you every step. Register for real-world education at hccs.edu.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Talk to your doctor about creating a plan that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Welcome back to the Veteran's Voice. From country to rock to blues, the guitar is the key to so many different genres of music. Guitars for Vets is working to give veterans a way to express themselves through this versatile instrument. We're joined today with Guitar for Vets Houston chapter, Daryl Morrison. Great to see you, Daryl.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am not good at any musical instrument. I mean, I can't even play the air guitar. So, so tell me, why guitars to help out veterans?
It was happenstance back in 2007. Patrick Nettesheim, who was a guitar instructor in Milwaukee, was approached about helping a Vietnam vet that was suffering from PTSD and wanted to learn guitar. And after a while and taking lessons from, Patrick, the healing that took place with the gentleman was just absolutely incredible. And it lit a fire in Patrick, and Guitars for Vets were born at that point. So I guess it was just happenstance that he was a guitar player. So, you never know. We could have been tubas for vets. Hard to say.
Oh my goodness, I cannot imagine us going oom papa across the United States with that one. I mean, Philip Sousa would have been very happy, but the king of the march. But I am not playing a sousaphone or a tuba. And so for those who absolutely took no music or voice lessons when they were growing up, how musically inclined do you have to be to start with your organization?
It's really, that our focus is veterans, and it has been for a while. We've recently opened ourselves up for active duty as well. And coming in the near future, Gold Star family members. So, really all they have to do is reach out to me. Send me an email if you're in the local Houston area, and it doesn't really matter, to tx.houston@guitarsforvets.org. Let me know that you want to be a student, and I'll put you in my queue. And when it comes that time, I'm going to just have a letter that you're going to need from say, your caseworker at the VA, or a personal doctor, and your DD 214. And that's it. And
Okay.
once you are accepted, we'll put you in the pike and match you up with an instructor and get you rolling.
That sounds great because I know so many veterans, and I know Houston is just going to be a shining example for Guitar for Vets, and we're proud to partner up with you from HCC TV and stay tuned for vets because we know that there's learned knowledge and then there's activity knowledge. Yes, you need to talk to a licensed clinical social worker, psychologist, or a counselor. With that, you need some sort of activity to band that together. Alone, they're okay, but you put them together, now you got something amazing because you've got something for them to focus on. And so, do you have any success stories for those who have already gone through your program?
I've had so many. We kind of focus on PTSD and mental issues, but there are also physical issues that some of our veterans have that may limit some of the things that they can do on guitar. So we kind of focus on kind of helping them navigate around those kind of things. And even from I don't want to say physical therapy standpoint, but my experience has been, as the students learn to use muscles in a different way,
Hmm.
we've seen a lot of very, very positive effects from that. And so I think it's just something about the instrument. I don't know what it is, but I'm so happy it's been able to help so many.
You're exactly right. There's just the vibrant connection that you get with the instrument, but also with those who are around you. Because I've got one of my friends, and he was blown up in Afghanistan. He lost both of his legs, one below the knee,
Right.
one above the knee, and the tip of his right middle finger, which he said he didn't need anyway. And he taught himself how to play guitar, and then he started watching YouTube videos, and finally found a program to help him out. And he said all the tendons, muscles, and nerves in his arm basically just magically came together. And then also, he wasn't as frustrated as he normally was because the synapses that fire together wire together.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just found that out. It just happened, and it's just a wonderful surprise that it was actually happening. And it's been so positive. It's just been incredible.
Okay, Daryl. So somebody signs up for the program. They're in the first class. How many people will be in the class, and what is the consistency of the classes?
A lot of it is going to be based on the number of instructors that we have, right?
Okay,
And so we tend to not do groups because we like to focus on the individual, making that kind of that one-to-one connection, right?
right.
So when you come on to our program, you're going to be assigned an instructor. You're going to meet with him for 10 weeks. We're going to give you a guitar to use. And it's all about building a relationship with the student and the instructor and teaching them how to play that lovely instrument sitting behind you.
Okay, now is it just guitars? I mean, I can't go full Kermit the Frog and play banjo?
Why not? We're always open to people. You need drummers, you need bass players.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to start with the guitar because I want to take the class as well because it's one of the instruments that you can take anywhere around the world. You just take an acoustic guitar, grab it, and go, and it turns a humdrum evening into something wonderful. And all you need to know is a few chords, right?
That's it. You learn 3 chords, you could probably play about 60% of the songs that are out there now.
Now, does that include Stairway to Heaven?
We'll teach you that when we come out there to do your class for Stay Tuned for Vets.
And what kind of guitars will they be using, Daryl?
We provide loaner guitars.
Okay.
Some of them are given to us from donors that are absolutely generous, and we really appreciate it. But they'll use those, and then once their 10 weeks are over, they'll give it back to us. And upon graduation, they're going to get a brand new acoustic guitar and a goodie bag full of all kinds of good stuff for the new guitar player. So, it's really nice. So not only do they pick up a new skill, a new coping mechanism, but we give them the actual vessel that's going to help them do that. And
All right.
it's
And
so
so
wonderful.
as Houston blossoms and the orchestra is being risen out of the pit, you're going to need some instructors, you're going to need some guitars, and then what else do you need?
Instructors are really my number one need.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, the outreach from the Houston community when I first started doing this, from Stay Tuned for Vets and, Combined Arms and individuals have reached out to me. And, I just get goosebumps just thinking about the reaction that I've gotten from the people. It's just been heartwarming and really hits me. But instructors are our real need. I think at last count, 300,000 plus veterans in the Houston area.
That's about right.
So I'm going to need a lot of instructors to help me to try to get to those individuals because we want to be active in the community. We want to be energetic. We want to be out there and talking and getting folks involved in the organization. So, our instructors are going to be the focus for that. And then, other things like that, then we're going to work to make the chapter just roll and be energetic. We want to be extremely active in the Houston area.
Thank you, Daryl. We will make sure that we put all of those into in our bag and that we let everybody know. And if you're watching this and you'd like more information on any of the organizations or services that you've seen on the program today, visit our website at hccs.edu/veteransvoice. To listen to a podcast version of this show, visit hccs.edu/podcast. For everyone here at HCC TV, thank you for joining us on the Veterans Voice.